The Gemara says, Rebbe said, my ladifim echavroi, the reason why I was zeichet to a higher madrega than my friends, the chazite v'rameir ma'achoyov. I once had the schus to see Rav Meir me'achoyov, to see the back of Rav Meir. And the Bianca the Zal told us we should realize what a schus it is that we had to be able to see the barons itself face to face. Today we have the schus to hear Dveri Yisayris from Moran Hagoyin and Hirshe Shlita, who's from the Gedoylei Talmidim, and Moran the Baron Zitzal. Shinamdom Levadecha, Eula Talmidim, Baroz Karad Ahua. It's a gewaltige schus that we have tonight to hear Dveri Hizzuk from the Große Yeshiva, Hirshe Shlita. It's my college to be Mechamed the Große Yeshiva Shlita to say for us the Dveri Yisayris.
Shus, Bashikeli Shlita, Shus, Bashikeshiva, Bashikoilim, Abonim, כל התלמידים היו קולים, כל הקודש הזה. As was mentioned by the Shkoilu, we're not so far from Shuas. I'll say, בזמן שהקדוש ברוך הוא שומע, שכלל ישראל עולמי נעשה ונשמע, מיד הוא אמר ויקרו לתרומו ולעשות למשמון ושוכנתי בסויפו. What is the kesher between the Nasa v'Nishma and the Shochanti b'Soichel? The Shatman in Nasa v'Nishma, there are very many deep Perushim about Pshat HaPoshut. Pshat HaPoshut, Shazal talk about that Klal Yisrael was ready take on the Torah without knowing what the Torah was going to be. The Goyim made fun of us. Chazal said, they made fun of us. That we're pleasing. We don't think things out. What was the inyan of the Nasa v'Nishma? What was there? If you take a mashal, if a person is very, very sick, the matter of psychosis nefashos, and there's one doctor who has a way to cure him. He has a certain method of curing him. He goes to the doctor, will be asked the doctor, tell me doctor, what is the way to cure him? I'll see if you tell me how it works, what you're going to do, then I'll decide whether I want to have it or not. Of course he will do that. He knows the only way that he can have life is only through this doctor. Whatever this doctor does, God gives him life. If he doesn't do what the doctor says, he has no life. He has no bladder. Avad used to say, Master Yagid, whatever the doctor says, I'm ready to do. That's possible. If Klal Yisrael knows that what is the times of our life? What are we here for in this world? ליברה אודם להונס בזיו השכינו, שזהו התייני והדמיתי בועיד מהגודל בכל העידונים שריחון ומוצא. Our toughness in life is the dovek b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is our toughness in life. The dovek b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. שזה התכלית האמיתי. והעיד מהגודל ושהעיד מהגודל we have no שום idea what it means עיד מהגודל. nothing to do with העולם הזה בכלל. The connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that connection, that's the greatest thing that can happen to a person, to become part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's our tachlis in life. This is the tachlis. And that if the person knows this is my whole tachlis, without this there's no point in living. The whole tachlis is only this. And he knows, the Rebbeinu says, I'm going to give you Torah and mitzvahs, and through the Torah and mitzvahs, you can attain that tachlis. So the first will say, certainly, if I don't have that tachlis, there's no point in my living with love. I'm only alive for that tachlis. Whatever it will be, whatever he gives me, that's what I'm ready to take. Just like the person who was ready to take any medicine that the doctor gives him. We're ready to take anything, because this is the only way to attain that tachlis that we want to attain. It only through Torah and mitzvahs, whatever Torah and mitzvah means, I'm ready for it. That was my day with massive Ishma. The gewaltige Größe Nutzen, the gewaltige understanding that the whole tachlis of my life is only to reach, to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That was the mind of the massive Ishma. By the Churban, we find that caused the Churban. And the Rishonim say what the Chinese, they weren't machshir the Torah. They learned Torah, but they weren't machshir the Torah. What was it be? Probably God for not being machshir the Torah, but that should be the Churban. Why was there the Churban? Because of that. The chat is, just like we said before, that the whole tachlis in life is to become called by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, governed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The best way to attain that tachlis, the Ramchal tells us, Shemikol HaMitzvah Sheyesh. What is the mitzvah that brings us the closest to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It's Talmud Torah. Talmud Torah, that is the mitzvah which brings us to the closest. So we should attain our tachlis. The best way and the only way to reach the tachlis mamish is always through Talmud Torah. How much one is miyagei in Torah, how much one learns in Torah, to that degree he gets the tachlis of Vekas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If that's the case, Shelzach the Shaila, how will they not machshir the Torah? If this brings the whole tachlis, how will they not machshir the Torah? The answer is that was not their own tachlis. The tachlis was not only to reach to become close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That was not the tachlis. Had that been the tachlis, they would have certainly been very, very, very machshir the Torah. The Gemara Shabbos that Kuf Daled Amud Aleph brings down that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Im Heim To'avim li, with an ayin, wasn't forever. They don't like me. They hate me. Ani es'av lahem, with an aleph, from a tiger. Ich will them. If they don't want me, I don't want them. Im lo yoksim li, ani etain et Hashem shali alehem. The Lord says, they don't want me. Hashem cannot be on them. If they don't want me, I don't want them. And I call revolt goes away. The soul of the Zilzal HaTorah, the Zilzal HaTorah was caused that the Rebbeinu Shalom said, you don't want me, and therefore I'm going up. A Beis HaMikdash, without the Shekhinah in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Beis HaMikdash is formed. Beis HaMikdash cannot stand without the Shekhinah in the Beis HaMikdash. And by being bezalzel in the Torah, being bezalzel in the Rosh Hashanah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, being bezalzel in wanting me, then I don't want you. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes away. He goes away, that's the problem. Therefore, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu heard Nasa v'Nishma, that they want HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the whole chapter is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nothing else, is Yitz Tazali Mishkan B'Shochanti B'Soicha. B'Shochanti B'Soicha. That was the chapter of the Chazal. And that's our avodah. Our avodah is to become closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as the Rosh HaKoil said before, to get closer and closer, and to stay weiter and weiter and weiter, heftiger and heftiger and heftiger, higher and higher and higher. That's the whole life. That is the whole life. Hayim v'maskil v'asur mishor mata. The person has to know that his tachlis is to become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And his whole life is to try and invite closer and closer and closer. That is his life. But very, very often, the Chofetz Chaim says, Hub the Yetzer Hara. And the Yetzer Hara says, me? I'm going to become the big tzaddik, become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm going to be the big tzaddik, I'm going to learn and learn and learn without any batolah bichlal. I'm going to learn with HaKabbon Maleo. What's trying to do? That's the tzaddikim deilim, under the deilis. Not for me, not for that, not for this dog. We find this week's parsha, the Ba'aloischo. The Rambam brings down the Aggodah, שנוסו מהסיני בשמחו, כי תינו יקבלך מבייס הספר. They ran away בשמחו, כי תינו יקבלך מבייס הספר. אמרו, שמו ירבה וייתן לנו מצוות. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and add more mitzvahs. He'll add more mitzvahs. The Nasa v'Nishma was gone. He's afraid there'll be more mitzvahs. Shem v'Yaveh lo yoseh mitzvahs. V'zeh v'yisu me'ar Hashem. Then the Ramban says, v'kol ha'chet puronius. This was the chet itself of puronius. Af al pi shlo ira lehem me'et puronius. The chet itself is puronius. V'shemo, the Ramban says, il molech cheto ze hoyo machnis lo ve'eretz miyad. There's a shaila. What about Meraglim? What about the Meraglim? I think the trap would be that they wouldn't have been the Meraglin. Had there been not for this chet, they wouldn't have been the Meraglin. And here we have a gili from the Ramban. What was the chet of the Meraglin? What was the shayrish chet of the Meraglin? The Meraglin were afraid. Shema yad b'mitzvahs, no Shema. In Eretz Yisrael, do yad b'mitzvahs. They have more mitzvahs l'maister. Not only they have more mitzvahs l'maister, they have mitzvahs, even every mitzvah itself has an under chiyuv to do it of an under life of a different way, better and better. And that they didn't want to do. The same exact point about Yisrael Hashem, Shem Meyarvel Anu Mitzvahs, that was in Ragdom the same thing. And had it not been the Yisrael Hashem which strengthened this chesron in them, they wouldn't have done the Ragdom either. The Chaim says, what was the reason why the Meraglim said this? Why did the Meraglim say that they were afraid, they don't want? Because of this reason, that the Yitzhak comes in and says, without Moshe Rabbeinu, what are we? Can we come to Eretz Yisrael with all the things that they have to do in Eretz Yisrael without Moshe Rabbeinu? With Moshe Rabbeinu we can do it. With Moshe Rabbeinu we can't. The fear of not taking on a new madrega, the fear that fear of the Yitzhak that he put the Rosh Hashanah, the Chaim says with this lotion, sometimes the Yitzhak comes and puts guide into you to stop you from doing business, and sometimes forget it. He makes you an inferiority complex. Also, they're not to do business. I'm not doing it. I'm not mechuyev al madrega. I can't do al madrega. That's a mistake. Every person, every book has to know. I can reach the highest madregas. The highest madregas. And I can live a high madrega in every aspect. And not to be afraid of high madregas. Live a high madrega and to wachsen, bigger and bigger and bigger. As Rosh Hashanah mentioned before, a life of steiging more and more and more. And not to say, I can't go more and more and more because it's not for me. That's wrong. It's for you. And what must we work on? To steig. To steig more and more. To steig more and more means not only in Torah, in everything. If a person davens today, let him think, how did I daven 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago? And the same davening, or is getting better? Think. And the answer is, it's the same way I'm davening now, I'm davening the way I've davened all the years. That means he's not steiging, he's not growing. And a person is supposed to grow. Chesed, midas. A person will say, fine, right. In davening, chesed, midas, I have to steig more. But Baruch Hashem, in Torah, I steig to say this, man. Now I can learn, the younger boy Baruch said that I can learn a Tosfos. Then he says I can learn a Nachman. I can my chadis myself already. They have to Torah more and more and more. I'm steiging emes. But what about something else? Chazal say, Kishem shemitzvahs ham b'Torah yosef mitzvah mikol mitzvahs, kach bittul Torah yosef koma mikol averos. As I bet the Chazal. How much are we steiging in the bittul Torah? How much are we steiging in the Shivas Torah? That is a shame. We must steig. We must become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's our tachlis. And the only way is to steiging more and more and more. Are we steiging tackling of bittul Torah? I want to bring down, read to you what the Chaim says. Chaim says, ידוע שלכל איש ישראל יש לו חלק בתורה. Every person in Klal Yisrael has a חלק בתורה. כאשר קוסם הגרוזה, שלפיכך אומרו חז"ל, יגעתי לו בסופי על תאמין, you shouldn't believe, the person says יגעתי לו בסופי על תאמין, שהוא כאב מציאס איזה דבר שמתחיל לקודם של מוצא הויסו גם כן. זה לא שיגעתי לו בסופי, זה גוי מדייק מה זה בסופי. יגעתי לו, יסלח לי, לא בסופי. בסופי is much more, there was something there, I lost something, I'm looking for something which was there. What did I lose? What am I looking for? So going to die with everybody who was given the chance, the chatchila, called the Chelek HaTorah, which is matim for him, the Chelek HaTorah, which is passes for him. And now we have to look for it. You got it, but Sossi, look al tamin. You'll find it. You got it, you'll find your Chelek. Al tamin. שכן כמציר איזה דור, שמתחיל לחודם של מוצא גם כן בעולם, אבל שתרפס היסטורי מויסו. That's what the Grove says. You're going to the Chaim, that is, the Zeh Helik, the Helik which we have, they come a it's like a very, very valuable diamond. Shehikna Hashem Mizbach Avuloi B'Tzayra Ki Ovar Achmanu. They gave him this diamond. V'roitza shal Yizbayis Shemish B'Voyev Shom Al Kain Ina Tzayra Tzorach L'Chabes Heitev ולגן עצמוי, שבוודאי ימצוא העצמוי שיקמה השם יסבור בו. הקדוש ברוך הוא gave us diamonds. Everybody has within him diamonds and has to go look for it to get it out. Then the Chaim says, כן הדבר הזה, כמעצמיים תחת בסנר says, כמעצמיים תחת בסנר. יש לנו ללמוד מחיפוש המטמונים שדרך הוא מחפש אחר כל המטמונים שלו. When a person is looking, when he lost some diamonds, he looks for every diamond. ואפילו ימצא טסט כיסים, he'll find 9 of them. שאוי מעלובים, ואוי מעדיין יגו טסט כיסים. He'll look for the 10th one as well. And if one who doesn't look for the 10th one, he's trying to get kosher. Therefore, the Chaim come down with a conclusion. Tzorech ha'odam lilmod kol yom of ha'ksuvim loy, b'chayim, v'chein b'chol yom kol ha'shoyis. The person is supposed to learn every day, every day that he has in his life to learn, and also every day kol ha'shoyis sheyesh lilmod. Then אז ימצא כל המטם שהתמא השם יסבור בעבודה. אבל לא יעשה כן, אלא יעשה איזה יום מלא בשויס. A person שם בבטל כמה בשויס. ולא יהיה בהם. נמצא שהישב בידיים את המטמון. That with hands he left the matmon. What does it mean, Rabbi say? It means a person has the ability of taking a tremendous amount of matmonim. And he has a certain amount of time for that. The time that he has is enough to take a certain amount of matmonim. If he doesn't use that, if he doesn't use all the time, He lost those matmainim. A person, a meister that had the Rabbanan Shalom gave a person life. He gave a person life and he gave him matmainim. He gave him the amount of matmainim according to that person, how much koyach he has, what will happen to him later on in life, all the various things that happen to him. Al Pizeh, he gives him a number of the amount of matmainim. If a person doesn't take it, and is mavat and samazay without a reason, he's throwing away matmainim. He's lost the matmainim which he should have had. That's what the Chavis Chaim says. If you look at it that way, that Torah is a matmain. Torah brings us to the big Matzega, and every piece of Torah is a matmain. And we have it within ourselves. A certain amount of matmainim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. And we stand zalzel in it. And we say, I'm not royal. What do you mean not royal? You are royal. You have that matmain in you. And you must use every koyach you have to use that. That's how you have to look at it. And to see, to steig in not only in learning, but to steig in the Chashivas HaTorah, to steig in the Rutzah that you want to be closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's how you have to steig. As I mentioned before, the Pasuk, Hayim l'mayla l'maskil, Masula l'shol mato. It's a going with a shot. Hayim l'mayla l'maskil, Masula l'shol mato. If you don't push to go higher, you'll fall lower. But it's another shot, and that shot also is very important for us. The shot of the Rabbeinu Bachai. Hayim l'mayla l'maskil. A makir to chunas ha'olam, a maskil which understands it's chunas ha'olam. We are olam ha'hefsid. He understands that this world is an olam ha'hefsid. We are there on a chayim l'mayla l'olam ha'nitzchi. He realizes that the equal world is olam ha'nitzchi. He realizes that. He's based with atzman mitaymus ha'olam. V'lo yaseh mimen l'keva. This Rabbi side is the lesson that we have to have. We have to realize what our tachlis is. The tachlis is the lamalo. The lamalo. You have to realize if you're masculine that our tachlis is lamalo. We have closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to have become double HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we realize that's our tachlis, and we want that tachlis, then it's pushed. Then we'll be mechadik ourselves in every aspect. We'll mechadik ourselves to learn more and more and more and more. We'll mechadik ourselves in our tefillah, in our chesed, in our midas, in everything. We're mechadik ourselves, and that's our life should be a life of aliyah achrei aliyah achrei aliyah. V'mansur mishol mato. That because we realize what is the tachlis. The Kodesh Baruch Hu should give all of us the koyach to have to reach the madregas that we can reach, and to reach and get all our matmainim, and that type of learning will bring a development of Kvayt Shemayim, and with Kvayt Shemayim in the Bria, that will bring a good shleim of the Bnei
We will be davening Meir right now. There will be an opportunity to give Shalom after Meir.